that I have no authority to do. But yeah, I mean, just what, 2 Sundays ago, we had the Russians launch a direct to send ASAT missile and literally destroy one of their own satellites in space, to the point, and the NASA director even commented on this, that for a while there, they had to alert the astronauts on the International Space Station because we were worried about debris hitting them and that. So there's an awful lot going on. I love the job, the mission. It's exciting to be a part of something in terms of the command that's new. Certainly the area isn't new, but what we're doing with it is fairly new.
The question that I have, because we hear about China, we hear about Russia, we hear about all these things. I think the best question I could ask you to really get it is, what does a world run by China look like? What is their end game? What is so different about how the world is now versus if the ball was in their court and they're running the show? What does that look like?
Yeah, that is a great point. And, this is the whole conversation about when we had the USSR and we had Rocky versus Drago. We knew who the bad guys are. We know who the good guys are. I don't think actually China is on that list of bad guys. I think what we need to be focusing on is the PLA, the People's Liberation Army, and the Chinese Communist Party, the CCP, where Xi Jinping, he runs the Chinese Communist Party, and then understanding what the perspective he comes from. He comes from an upbringing where his father was publicly criticized, and so he has a bit of shame in him. He comes from an upbringing where his sister took her own life, and so there's sadness and deep sadness from that. And then he comes from a background where he applied to be a member of the Chinese Communist Party 10 times until he finally got in. And so there's that resentment, that's probably inside of him individually. You also have to understand the Opium Wars and kind of the great 100 years of the Depression era of China to understand where they see things, because we've got to understand where they see things. You understand what they're doing in the Northwest with their Muslim population and how that is. And so what I would tell you is China itself, not necessarily a negative, but we want to protect and have our way of life. And I think the way the Chinese Communist Party would do things where, for example, the national security law, I believe of 2017, dictates that any business or company in China or doing business with China has to turn over their information at any point. This is why I always had some issues with TikTok is, hey, if China wants, they can take your information or your data. And so I think it's the fact that you have a repressive government who will basically tell you how to live. If we were in China right now, having this conversation, and we mentioned Tiananmen Square, and we said, let's go look it up, we wouldn't be able to see it. Almost like 1984, in the book 1984, where history is daily erased, that history is erased. And so I think what we want, is what we have in the United States, where we have great debate, we have professional disagreements. We certainly have our bumps in the road, and we've got to get better in some things. But I don't think what we want is a government dictating what we can say, how we can live our lives, and that sort of thing. And so that's where I think the challenge will be, that we're dealing with within China. If you really play out what a great power conflict would look like, as the chairman calls it, this is not going to be an Iraq or an Afghanistan. This is going to be game changer, where millions, hundreds of thousands, millions, if not even more, are dead and potentially dead instantly. And so I just hope we don't get to a part where this is Terminator 2, robots against robots and machine against machine. And we're nowhere near there. But we've got to, Chief Toberman, I've got a saying above my door. He came up with this saying. He said, our most important weapon system lives and breathes. And in a command that deals with things in space, things you can't touch, the things you may not be able to see, we can sometimes lose our focus on that. I want to stay focused on our most important weapon system lives and breathes, and how do we take care of them, and what taking care of people means. I don't think it means necessarily going home at 4 o'clock every day. It means that their awards are done on time, that their evals are done on time, that we brought them onto the command through an onboarding process in a professional way. That's taking care of our people, not kind of the what I call the bumper sticker thing that's out there now, and dignity and respect. And what does all that mean? It means actually doing something proactively. So a little bit off topic there, but for me, there isn't any technology that I can make, late breaking news here. But I am proud of the people that are engaged in what we do, and I'll continue to be so.